Alright, what's up, folks? Today is Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. Rich Fantasso with a flash alert for you. The news had already broke. I was at work, so I didn't have a chance to talk about it, but obviously we have to discuss the Kristaps Porzingis injury. ACL tear, clearly he's done for the season. I'm hearing 10 months is what it would look like at that point. That's certainly along the timeline as you would expect. In the NFL, they say you're not really right until about a year. Now, there's clearly not the demand with the knees in the NBA for the most part. With Kristaps Porzingis, though, you would have to assume a tall, lanky guy that his knees may take on a bit more weight or a bit more strain. He's not carrying a lot of weight, but certainly that had been a concern. You worry about the feet of Porzingis for a guy that tall, about 7'3", 7'4", that lanky. That's something that definitely could affect him more than it would affect other guys. Just the last guy I can really remember off the top of my head with the torn ACL was Rajon Rondo. Now, he clearly hasn't been the same player since he came back, but that is also a case. He's bounced around a little bit too. I don't know if you put him on a team right now that, you asked him to do what he did in Boston. He couldn't come close to putting up those numbers. We would have to see, but that's just the guy I'm thinking of who is a guard, and we saw that it took him some time to really get back to form, which he never really has come back. Now, how much does that have to do with the injury? How much does that have to do with just the teams he's played for? He left Boston. There was the fiasco in Dallas. Went to teams like Sacramento. Now, of course, he's in New Orleans. He still puts up the good assist numbers. So certainly with Kristaps Porzingis, that is something that we'll have to definitely see when he comes back, and certainly is a concern with him moving forward. Now, what does this mean for the Knicks exactly? The Knicks also traded Willie Hernan-Gomez, which I'm a little surprised by. I felt Hernan-Gomez, while nothing spectacular, is certainly a guy who can contribute on a team, and a team that could make the playoffs. I mean, a championship team, maybe not, but certainly he's a guy who has some skill and is a guy who you can rely on to do what he does in the middle. Was an all-rookie team last year, I believe, first team. So there are things with that. That's something we have to discuss. We'll probably talk about that in the weekly NBA report. But with the Knicks, you see this team, were they making some strides without Carmelo Anthony? Maybe. They have really fallen off in recent weeks. They've just been a mess for about 15, 16 years now, probably even a little longer than that, and it's just another blow to them. Now, I thought they did well in the Carmelo Anthony trade. I still think they need a better point guard play, at least. You have Ntilikina there. Let's see what he can develop. But certainly this is going to be something that could really set the Knicks back, especially if Porzingis is not what he is when he comes back. But just in the meantime, you have to finish out this season. You're most likely going to start next season, a good portion of it. Probably about 25 games at least, we would say, at the 10-month mark, maybe a little less than that, but probably about 25, 30 games into next year. You got to see what you have. How do you develop this team? Do you bring in a point guard? You have to get some sort of scoring as well to take the stress off of Kristaps Porzingis' injury or not. You need another guy who can certainly carry that load. So you're trying to build around Porzingis. Now you have this injury. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Knicks finish out this season, what they're going to you have to imagine that they're not really going to push for the playoffs at this point. Not like they would probably make it to begin with, but certainly it's something that now you got to start to develop these guys, see who can play, see if there's what's on the roster, maybe make some trades, see if you can get a draft pick and hit it there, or what are you going to do? But just definitely tough for the Knicks. So, big thing is when Kristaps Porzingis comes back, we won't know that until about the quarter point of next season. So let's see what happens, what the Knicks do the rest of this season, and if anyone can come in. But certainly a difficult one for the Knicks as they try to finally get themselves to some sustained respectability, maybe 45, 46 wins, on a decent regular basis, and then try to, of course, get to the championship level. All right, come Saturday, we will give you an NBA in depth. Maybe do a player focus this one. I'm thinking about some guys who I want to do a player focus with. Maybe do one of each. Be sure to stay tuned for that. And remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. You got the trade deadline coming up. Anything big that happens, we'll keep you posted. Thanks so much. See you next time.